ask you a question. A very important question. One that leads to an understanding that is very deep. I'll start by providing context. A lot of people spend a lot of time searching outside of themselves for a meaningful connection. There's the context. So the question would be, how much time have you spent with yourself today? How much time did you spend with yourself yesterday? Did you allot any time for yourself in your schedule tomorrow? Or are you just driven for goals? See, if you don't spend any time connecting with yourself, any connection you make with another individual is completely fruitless, because you're seeking to gain connection. You can't reciprocate because you're in a state of seeking. If you spend a lot of time with yourself, like actual time with yourself, not questioning yourself, not beating yourself up or punishing yourself, but really just kind of sitting with yourself, meditating, if you will. If you do that, if you spend that time with self, when you have opportunity to connect with another individual, both of you will gain significant understanding from the time spent together, because you'll actually be able to connect yourself to the other individual. You see, a lot of us seeking connection view connection as an external supply, an external source. It's pretty easy to understand why, in order to power a computer, you have to connect it to a wall, right? But there are many connections that happen inside of the computer itself prior to ever being connected to the wall. Those connections that happen inside of the computer, believe it or not, are the most important ones, because if you don't have a processor connected properly, you can plug the computer into the wall, it will do nothing. If you don't have RAM plugged in, you can plug the computer into the wall, it will do nothing. You can have a processor and RAM, but if you don't have any way to display video at all, you can plug the computer into the wall, turn it on, hook it up to a monitor, and guess what? It will display nothing. So, the connections inside of the computer that unify all of the organs, let's say, or components of the computer together that make it function are required before ever connecting to the wall in order to have form and function. So, secondary question: if you are not internally connected and wired correctly, Why are you trying to plug into the wall? You can't use that. Now, let's say you have a computer that's wired and connected completely wrong, or any other electrical appliance for that matter. This is uniform for anything you have to plug into a wall. If it's wired incorrectly and is not connected properly to itself, what happens to it when you plug it into the wall? It lights on fire and destroys itself. The first question that I posed in this video was, why would you seek connection when you're not connected to self? People who aren't connected to themselves that try to connect collectively to the community of human individuals usually cause damage. They either cause damage or they consume resource. The resource at this time, I guess, would be considered to be attention or emotion, energy being provided by another individual. So if you aren't connected to yourself, if you don't have a complete circuit on your own, you're just going to draw power from others. And if you do that, you're going to deplete them. That's not a good thing. And if the other individuals are connected well, they're probably going to disconnect from you pretty quickly and move in an opposite direction. So, question. Have you spent any time with yourself?